One is a grant to the communities that you apply for, and another smaller pot of $1,500, about $1,100 comes as just a reimbursement of snowmobile registration fees. It's a percentage of the total. That comes as a general revenue, much like you would have tree growth or whatever kind of revenue. It's a revenue that comes to the town. And as Linda pointed out, a lot of towns just vote to pass that revenue on to the snowmobile club as part of their grant. But technically, it is a separate revenue, and that you could use it to reduce taxation if you wanted to. So we prepared a warrant article, thanks to Linda, quickly, very quickly, which is Article 29, which says we recognize that that is a revenue that comes into us, and that the town is going to pass that to the snowmobile club.
And what snowmobile club is that?
Pudunk.
Not the Pudunk.
Pudunk.
Did you see Article 29?
Pudunk.
That's how it was written
In the grant?
In the grant that I pulled out.
That's how it was written, yeah. Yeah, but Linda pulled that right from the grant.
It's
Yeah.
close, it's close.
We'll fix that in the
I
original.
saw that on the,
That's how
We'll
it was
get,
written in the
Johnny's
file.
not here.
Somebody's in trouble. So whoever prepared the grant,
Right, that generally comes prepared by the club.
I,
can't spell.
that shouldn't be there.
And I didn't do it.
I just happened to catch it.
Isn't that funny? So, but yes, rather than, I mean, it was at the very last hour, and we thought, let's do it, let's bring it to the selectmen, let's get it done, and you have a signature page. You just vote on the warrant article, just tell us which warrant articles you want, sign the pages, and we'll get, and Linda's gonna make sure that the right articles are attached to the signatures, depending on how you vote tonight.
So we have to vote on all,
You would have to vote a version of either you're gonna vote on the warrant, or the warrant that has the 29 articles, or the warrant that has 28 articles. And if you don't like either of those versions, tell us what you do want, then we'll prepare it. Vote on it, and then we'll prepare it.
First 27 are the same as they were before.
right.
Yes, you've seen the first 27, everybody's familiar with those. The other ones were kind of after the fact.
Okay.
Fire code and,
The fire code and the snowmobile registration fees.
I'll make a motion that we accept the warrant, which has 29 articles.
Well, I think I've brought this up before, I'd like, in discussion on this, where we have upped the rate of interest on the delinquent taxes, yet we did not raise the overpayment. In my opinion, I think they should be even. If people are overpaid, they're being penalized versus if they haven't come up and paid it enough already. We raised it to 7 as far as the interest rate. I'd like to see the overpayment interest percentage be at 7% as well.
What number is that?
That is number 5.
So if we have to pay for an abatement, whatever you're suggesting,
It's not their problem, it's not their fault that they were overcharged. And if they've been overcharged and paid it, it usually takes them a while to get their money back. Now, I missed out on that because I didn't get on it in time because it was done to me at one point in time, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. Now, there isn't very many, we only did
That's
one
what I
last
said.
year for $428, but still, if it's the other way around, you're still charging them 7%. Mine would have been a, fairly decent chunk if I'd get on it without paying attention. I wasn't paying attention, so. I don't see why it would be a problem to have it both ways. 400 and whatever dollars was paid out last year. So that's not like it's gonna amount to thousands of dollars. But it would be nice to see somebody who was overcharged at least get something for their hassle.
Do we have some people that pay ahead? Or that,
Well, it's when it was the abatement, like he said, that people were overcharged and they come back and they got it figured out that they were overcharged, but they had already paid it.
all right, I mean, if people pay ahead, like 2 years, would they get interest on that also?
no, I don't think, Bob, some people prepay their taxes, and you prepay, we don't give you a discount to prepay.
Yeah.
There's some background for MMA on this, there's a legal opinion. if people prepay, that's why you have the warrant article, to protect you from having to pay interest rates from folks that have, there could be, folks, there could be some unusual situations. Usual situation, it wouldn't make a difference, but if someone prepaid by quite a bit, expecting to get a better, don't get 7% at the bank, so it would be a great deal to prepay your taxes, and get 7% interest. And so,
But then they're getting
Even
charged
4%.
7%, they're getting, if you don't get 7% of the bank, you get it, the town gets 7% if somebody's not paying their on time.
right, by state law, you can't exceed 7%, but in most towns, just accept, and don't go lower, but typically it is lower. I don't remember all the reasons, but this isn't out of unusual.
It didn't amount to a lot, that's all. I just figured it for the hassle of somebody having to go through it, is all.
A lot of people don't pay before the abatement, because you have 185 days to do an abatement request, so that there's no interest being charged in your taxes at that point, so you wouldn't, unless you're a major taxpayer, you don't have to prepay to file an abatement, unless you have a separate ordinance here. If you're like one of the largest taxpayers, you do.
For the reason that they have the interest rate to begin with is all. We've moved it up as far as being behind on your taxes. To me, it was just an evening thing. It's not, it's not a big deal, but it's something, just to make it even for somebody. Just in my opinion on it is all.
Well, I think you should have the MMA guidance on this, so either to hold the signing up this year for a couple of days and get that in place, or consider it next year as a change.
I'd brought this up before is all, so I've mentioned it before. When we had raised it to 7, because they were even before.
I wasn't aware of it, so there was any research prepared.
They were both 4%.
Oh, were they?
Right.
We raised it to 7 for delinquent.
Right.
What was both 4%? There's always been a spread.
I think it was
Yeah.
5 then, or wasn't it 5? Because we
There-
did raise it to
there's-
7 from somewhere.
On the
Well,
delinquency?
the state sets the maximum on delinquencies, which, as we now know, you can charge 0, and the maximum you can charge, the state sets. The state also says that if you're gonna give, you gotta give them, the most of the spread, I think, is 3%. So that's where that spread comes from, is from state
So we raised it to
guidelines.
7 because we didn't have the spread to go.
The 7 is from state, and the 4 comes from that 3% spread.
Well, I know we raised it at town meeting last year.
It may have been, it may have
It's
been,
from the year before.
it may have been from the year before, right?
So just to clarify, that's the state's recommendation, is that on the delinquent taxes, the most you can set it at is 7%. And then they recommend that somebody who has overpaid, there should be a spread between that percentage rate. Is that what I'm understanding? That
I think they recommend it can't be any more than.
Right, it can't be any more than that. And that, I think, is contained in the documentation to Mr. McKay's
I think that's-
questions.
yeah.
The law is part of that documentation.
Okay.
So these are, if you're gonna set a delinquent rate, the state says the maximum is 4. And then from that, you take that spread of 3 to get to your 4%. So once you get your delinquent rate set, then you know what your overpayment rate is. And that's the guidelines from the state. Whether you follow that, I think that's up to the town, but they have
4%
maximums.
is still good. We
It's
can
still
get-
better than they would
Oh,
have
yeah.
thought.
Fine.
should we get that on our E&O and stuff, right?
Yeah, that would be great. It'd be
Yeah.
more money to pass out.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second yet?
Was there a motion?
Yes, from Noreen to accept all the 1 through 29, including the
Okay.
PA and including the
Need a second.
snowmobile.
I'll second when we get discussion.
Okay. Any more discussion?
That was the only one I found.
I'm good.
Okay. All in favor?
So just to be clear, we have Article 27 is the building permit, Article 28 is the NFPA codes,
Yep.
and Article 29 is the snowmobile refund.
I'll sign it as long as we change it to
Well, you're signing the the back page, and we will change in the original, the correct name of that, so that's.
Yeah, I called it just like too. Because you weren't saying.
Well, I
the way
figured that
was
was
saying
clearly a
it.
typo.
When you see Johnny Holmes, give him hell, because he's the one who
Oh,
does it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, give Johnny.
He's about to do.
Okay, so.
Until he gets gone.
Yeah.
He's back up.
Yeah.
I owe him big time.
Tell me we want to see the charter and the bylaws and everything else to prove the real name. Make his life miserable.
That's right, he had your television shut off, didn't he? Twice.
And what?
Well, in the morning, and his television shut off. Cable.
Oh, yeah?
Remember the bathtub used to go around
Oh,
town?
yeah.
That was gone.
Oh, yeah.
I just made a call one night, I ended up getting banned off for a hockey game the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and it was public skating. So, I owe him.
First time you didn't say it in the meeting, so.
I know.
And that's why he's here, is for the next part, next one on the agenda. Public Works, the current union contract says that the hours may be altered Memorial Day to Columbus Day. The request this year from the union, you can see in the email, is to work Monday through Friday, 6 to 2 p.m., Monday through Friday.
What they've done before.
They haven't started that early. Prior boards have been concerned about noise issues at that early in the morning. Prior years, they've asked for 10-hour days. This is the first time that I can remember that they've asked from 6 to 2, 5 days a week.
But our discussion previously was that it was, the most we could come up with was one complainant.
Yeah. And right, I'm just, yeah, we've had this discussion, and I think you guys are okay with that.
This is just a temporary, like our union contract says we can alter our schedule from the day after Memorial Day, would be Monday or Tuesday, to Columbus Day. So this is just for that period of time, until we figure out the contract and all that stuff. Then we go back to, like Columbus, the day after Columbus Day, we'd go back to 7 to 3. And if we work, say if we work a project that's 3 weeks long, and we want to go to, and it's okay, you can go 4/10s if we wanted to stay on the project.
The union contract says you may alter it, not you can.
No, yeah, we may, we have to get permission, you know.
I don't have an issue with it from 6 to 2.
To me,
I'd
it's,
rather work it cool.
it's
the
cooler
morning.
in the summer,
Yeah.
That's
you know.
the issue.
Just don't do any weed whacking at 6 a.m.
You do it. Well,
That's where the common, when you go out the common, do all your women out there.
Come on down. What do we do?
Make sure you do a lot of backing up in the
Stop on the
trucks.
corner of my house and go around there.
Well, even by the time you get
Yeah,
to.
the
we're
new
at work
waste
at
disposal
6.
site.
By the time
You
you
said
do
you
the
wanted to
pre-trip,
dispose.
get the orders.
Yeah.
By the time you do the pre-trip, get the orders, it's 6:20, you know, you're pushing 6:30, then you get out there. So it's not like we're gonna be right on the road at 6 o'clock.
You have any issues, Dave, with that, with the crew?
We need a motion? Or just-
Yeah, you should be a vote, so they vote.
We have a vote. Motion, please?
I make a motion that we allow the Highway Department, Public Works Department to alter their hours from Memorial Day to Columbus Day, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. with the effect, the change taking effect on May 28th.
Second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous, Sam?
Next item on your agenda is a petition coming from the residents of Meadowbrook Terrace. Meadowbrook Terrace is somewhat across the street from the entrance to the middle school. It's a dead-end road that goes slightly uphill. has a series of homes on either side of the road. A resident came in and talked to me about cars speeding on that road.